Tana Palava and welcome to Tangata Pasifika.
Kia orana, it's always great to have your company.
Well, coming up in today's show, we're ringside at the Triple Thriller Fight Night.
Personally, I'd like to thank my beautiful wife Daphne and all my children.
We meet the street pianist who's become an internet sensation.
We saw the street piano and it was late and she's like, oh, hurry up and go play if you want. And so I just played one song and it was Bohemian, yeah.
And the sounds of Pacific jazz in the spotlight.
I put together all the youngest, brightest, funkiest, soulful young Pacific musicians out there.
Remember, we'd love to hear from you, so just send us your comments about the show on Facebook and Twitter.
But first, over the last 3 weeks, we've brought you the remarkable transformation of former All Black Inga Tuigamala.
Inga's journey is not over, but he reached one of his critical milestones on Thursday night in the Triple Thriller Fight. Here's John Utanga with his journey to date.
Inga the Swinger Tuigamala.
The weigh-in, 24 hours before the Triple Thriller Fight Night.
Okay, Inga Tuigamala is 139.3.
You looked a bit disappointed there for a second.
Oh, hey, it is what it is. It's been hard, but like I'm further up the ladder than I was, a few months ago. So I'm okay. I'm happy.
Inga's opponent is former police sergeant Tony Solomona.
Although it's meant to be an exhibition match, when you get two Samoans in the ring, there's no such thing as exhibition. It's not personal, it's all business, and we'll be friends after it. So.
But just getting here in shape to fight is what it's all about. It's been a tough few years for the likeable former All Black. Business failures, family problems, his ballooning weight. He had to turn his life around. And the Triple Thriller Fight Night is part of his journey back. And for the past 7 months, he's been working hard to get fighting fit.
At first light, I think we both
I dreaded walking in here 10 days ago with Lee.
Jump on the scales, let's see where you're at, and let's talk about what needs to be done.
With the increased fitness and weight loss, a new commitment.
Good morning.
Inga's also decided to run the Auckland Marathon in November, and to do it as a Heart Foundation runner.
Cool, eh? And my trainer said to me, give yourself some goals. I probably picked the two hardest goals that I could think of, but at the same time, it's given me something to aim for.
Inga's taking on a huge burden on this journey, and it's not just physical. Being a fight promoter is hugely stressful. And on the eve of the big night, his main event fighter has had to withdraw due to injury.
Very, very disappointed, and it's been left to the last minute, and promoters don't like this kind of thing, but, you expect the unexpected in the world of boxing.
We just got to pull together. There's a lot of other fighters that, this means something to them as well, so we just have to get on with it, really.
It's a big blow for Inga, but the show must go on. The first Tuigamala up is son Jordan. It's a proud dad who looks on.
Just happy for him. He's trained hard in the last few months. Finally, he has the opportunity to showcase his talent again. So, yeah, nervous, but good.
No real power in that. That's just sort of putting it out there. Bit of a feeler time. Oh. That's a big punch.
I was just going to say it's only going to be a matter of time before he lands a heavy shot.
That was a feeler. But he's got those gloves up, which is making it hard to get that big finish punch. Left and a right combination.
Here. Referee's going to stop the fight.
And the referee steps in.
Later in the evening, heavyweight Baba Tuigamala slugs his way to a split decision win.
See by the wild swings.
Fighting out of the red corner, Baba Tuigamala.
Backstage in a crowded warm-up room, Inga tries to focus on the fight.
It's a shot.
For him as a corporate fighter, so, even though it's a corporate fight, it is very challenging, and he's fighting a tough guy. So I guess I said, God bless and hope it goes well.
Then it's all on.
So Inga the Swinger, 50 seconds to go. Can he unleash the beast? Tony Solomon is going to be standing there saying, I don't want to be tagged in your own fight.
Winner by unanimous decision out of the red corner, Inga, the swinger, Tuigamawa.
He did okay, considering he hasn't really had a lot of rest, you know. It's been going non-stop this week. So I'm proud that it came out all right. We got the right results.
I get the feeling you're happy that's over.
Yeah, really happy that's over. But look, I want to congratulate Tony, Sergeant Solomon for stepping in. It takes a lot of guts to get into the ring. A lot of admiration for you also. Personally, I'd like to thank my beautiful wife, Daphne. And all my children.
It's a win on the nights for Inga, but the big guy knows this is just a footnote on his journey to better health.
5 months ago, I was looking down the barrel. You know, my friend Fats passed away, and I didn't want to be another statistic. So it is worth it. It's hard work, you know. It's not easy. A lot of time, energy, and money's gone into it. But just to see, you know, even my sons, you know, enjoy the moment, and this is what it's about them as well.
Well done, Inga, you're looking good too. Well, tomorrow the first Pacific Language Week for the year begins. It's Le Vaiaso o le Ngangana Samoa.
Now, Samoan is the third most spoken language in New Zealand and the second most spoken language in Auckland.
So we decided to send our Tongan reporter, that's right, our Tongan reporter, onto the streets to learn some Samoan.
So if you're not a fluent speaker like Marama, here's John Pulu with some tips for you.
South Auckland, it's a home away from home for many Pasifika families. We came here in numbers and we brought with us our Pacific ways.
And one of the things we packed in our luggage when we arrived is our Pacific language. And this week we celebrate Samoan Language Week here in New Zealand.
This year's theme is Tauwhi Mau Yao Measina. It means hold fast to your treasures.
Which is why I'm here today in the heart of the Pacific, Otara Town Centre. I want to conduct a little survey. Who's holding on to their Measina, their language, and why?
It's our culture, so it's better for the Samoan people to hold on their language.
Even though we stay here in New Zealand, you know, we were brought from somewhere else. Like my parents are from Samoa, and I'll never forget that.
What things do you guys do to keep the Samoan language alive?
My last name is Asalemo Semontafa Lavatai Eniata.
Wow, that's probably the longest last name in the world. Malo sole wa mai oe. Hey, oh, sorry. Nice to meet you. I'm John Pulu. I'm from the FBI. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, so now we're here at Samoa Money Transfer. Am I correct? That's right. Fantastic. And I'm going to test out my Samoan. Wailo ingoa.
Celia.
Were you impressed with my Samoan there?
Yeah, it's better than mine.
How do I say give me your money in Samoan?
Maile tupea.
Maile tupea.
Alofa te miss, I love you. Take it easy, fight mu.
Samoan Elvis there, thank you very much for joining us on the show.
When we come home, no English, you speak Samoan. You either speak Samoan or you go stand outside and talk from outside.
Well, the first school for the kids is in the family, and that's where the Samoan language should be live, in the family.
But I needed expert advice on how we can hold on to our Measina. So I came to see a friend of mine who I call Grandmaster Ah Chong.
How do I hold on to my language? Well, actually, I hold on to it by living it, by walking in it and practicing, because it goes hand in hand. It's not just language. So it's a way of living it, breathing it and practicing it.
So I'll be one of the customers. I'll walk in and you respond in Samoan, okay? All right, so I'll just walk in. Oh, talofa. Ia, wa mai. Mescale coupe. Le Samoa.
Yeah, that's the proper word. I want to send my money into Samoa.
What did I just say there?
If you say something, but totally different what we just...
Obviously not Samoan.
So to save you from awkward moments like this, practice makes perfect.
Oh, mano, come fight John. Yeah, ole a mawaina, tu le wha Samoaina, o le wha Salulonga, I le Vaiaso fo.
And that means?
Oh, we're going to bring you full coverage of our Samoan Language Week, Samoan Language in next week's show.
I love it. Well, stay with us. Up next, hear how this amazing artist got a worldwide following, but still gives back to her community.
To be able to play the piano, like hopefully it can uplift others in some way.
Welcome back to Tangata Pasifika. Remember, we'd love to hear from you, so just send us your comments about the show on Facebook and Twitter.
Now, you may have heard about this next internet sensation. Samoan University student Shakela Welese loves to play the piano, and she has got amazing talent. Now, on one occasion, her brother filmed her playing Bohemian Rhapsody on a street piano.
2 weeks later, and Shakela Welese's video already has more than 600,000 hits on YouTube. So Anake Ahulele travelled to Wellington to meet the 20-year-old.
She's a hit on YouTube. 20-year-old Shakela Welese couldn't believe it when founding member of supergroup Queen, guitarist Brian May, shared her YouTube link.
I was pretty stoked that he shared it because he shared it on his Facebook, and then he tweeted about it, which was even more big. And he signed his name, so I was like, oh yeah, it's actually from him. And that's kind of as good as it gets, in terms of who's going to see it. It was Easter weekend and I just went back to visit my family. We're out in Napier at the movies, and then we saw the street piano and it was late, and she's like, oh, hurry up and go play if you want, as they're going to take it away. And I was like, okay. And so I just played one song and it was Bohemian, yeah.
The fun-loving pianist is a student here at Massey University in Wellington. She's now in her second year studying a double major in psychology and English. She also mentors and works tirelessly on the Pacifica Executive. And in return, the university is granting her a special scholarship.
But she's definitely had an impact. There's a special award, which is the Community Involvement Award, of which Shakela should be one of the recipients.
Born in Hastings, Shakela also gives back to the wider community in a unique, special way. Some days her music is tinged with sadness. A couple of years ago, Shakela spent a lot of time at the hospital supporting her dying dad. And as part of the healing process, she's back in the hospital, giving some of her time, sharing her joy of music. But the joy of sharing her talents with others doesn't take away the heartache of losing her dad. This is a song Shakela composed for him.
I go back there because we spent a lot of time there. I know what it's like to walk down the hospital with white walls, and you can only hear your thoughts. So to be able to play the piano, hopefully it can uplift others in some way.
So she kind of started that while she was here on her own. We were all dealing, getting up to his first anniversary last year, and she decided to do her Play for Life and organised her 6-week play on Saturdays. And that was nice because each of my kids were handling it differently, and that's her way. We're still on that journey, not quite sure where that journey will take us. I'm excited about what the future holds for us, and I'm there to support my kids in whatever they choose to do.
Well, I want to finish my degree and then serve a mission, definitely, and see where that leaves me.
Wow, amazing. Hey, Shakela, thank you for sharing your passion.
Well, when it comes to explosive power, Pacific Islanders have it in abundance.
Olympic champion Valerie Adams and former discus thrower Beatrice Famuina are just two names who have won gold for New Zealand.
Now, a throwing academy is opening up in Wellington to help develop our next gold medalists. Sarnelli Chadwick has more.
Today's opening marks a line in the sand for former Olympian Shaka Sola.
For our kids, and it means a lot to me because it's been a long-term sort of venture to get a place like this.
It's taken 2 years, but this once deserted piece of land, affectionately known as the Pony Paddock, is now the new home for the Solar Power Throwing Academy.
Yeah!
Shaka knows a fair bit about throwing. He's won a number of gold medals for shot put and discus at the South Pacific Games, and he's also represented Samoa at the 2004 Olympic Games and 2006 Commonwealth Games. It's no wonder then why teenagers like Denny To'o look to Shaka for advice.
Shaka's our big father and we rely on him to teach us. And he's been places and we expect him to show us the ways.
The Academy is open to anyone wanting to give throwing a go. Denny To'o is one of the Academy members and loves the explosiveness shot put and discus require.
You know how you're rugby season and you want to smash people? This event you can just take it out all on the shot put and just smash the shot put up.
Our Pacific Island kids especially, they're strong and they're not good at sprinting, by the way, but they are good at throwing on power events. And that's why the special guest of Ben Levi here, who's done it well in the world stage.
This is the next generation of athletes coming through here, And it's what Shaka's doing here is just awesome. Like I said, in my days, I had never had a coach teach me strongman. I self-taught myself. But to have a coach and to have the facility, what the kids have got here is unbelievable, Like athletes and Olympic champions will come from this yard,
It's a long-term plan for Shaka, who hopes the Academy will provide a pathway for youth to stay off the streets.
A lot of our youth are going astray, they're becoming a real sort of a problem with society. And I think the only way we can bring them in, especially our Māori and Pacific Island kids, sport is their thing, so they tend to sort of gather around and they like to compete and they've got that competitiveness in them. And I think by having a facility like this, it's just going to open doors for them.
It's a welcoming sight for parents too, who are thankful for what Shaka's provided.
It's just a friendly vibe. He's always welcoming. He's always helping the community out, and this event is just part of a way to kind of promote his academy and just to say thank you for all the work that he's done.
I know we're going to bring an Olympian out of this place.
A statement that will hopefully become a reality in the years to come.
Now there's someone to watch out for in the future. Good luck, Shaka, and to all the athletes in the Academy.
Well, stay with us. After the break, 5 Macaulay students are off to the States to problem solve worldwide.
It's a matter of sharing everything that we've learned with other people from all around the globe rather than just our community. We're all honoured to do that.
Welcome back to Tangata Pasifika. Do send us your feedback on Facebook and Twitter.
To education now, 5 Macaulay High School students are off to the United States to compete at the International Community Problem-Solving Finals.
It's a huge opportunity to showcase a project they feel passionate about, getting Pasifika students attaining excellence at NCEA level. John Ultanga has this story.
Macaulay High School in South Auckland, a Catholic school for girls. Now, over the last few years, they've had some very good NCEA results, but a group of students here want their fellow peers to aim even higher, to aim for excellence in NCEA.
Okay, stop. Everyone's hands up. Okay, hands up. Okay.
A workshop with Year 10 students on thinking about excellence.
In Year 10, they don't really look at the actual thought process of getting excellence or thinking higher, so that's what we're trying to bring out today.
It's being taken by a group of Year 13 students who last year developed a system to help NCEA students aim high.
We kind of cover what NCEA is, how to study for NCEA, what kind of thinking you need to have. We teach the girls that they need balance and they need time where they can relax, but not to a point where they're forgetting about their schoolwork.
Implemented in school, their system was also made available on a website with resources for students, teachers and parents. Such was the quality of their work, they took first place in the senior division of last year's Community Problem-Solving Finals, earning the right to represent New Zealand at the international finals in June.
We as a community are incredibly proud of the girls. The fact that these girls have achieved this, that they're proud of themselves, that they've got this wonderful opportunity to go overseas, to mix with all the different nationalities, it's just something which we all share and we're all proud of.
Known as the Pacifics Group, the girls are looking forward to their overseas trip.
It's a matter of sharing everything that we've learned with other people from all around the globe rather than just our community. We're all honored to do that because we just want everyone to know that we can do it.
It's a daunting experience, but it will be life-changing. Yeah.
And life-changing is how this experience has been for the girls, particularly as it's helped them in their own endeavours.
Going out into the world, it'll be a boost, like a confidence, telling ourselves to keep believing, like if we put our mind into it, we can do it, we can achieve.
I feel that through this project, it helped us to realise that we're just as capable as other students of other ethnicities. And I think for myself, it provoked me to be more passionate about serving the community.
And the students leave for the USA next month, flying the flag for themselves, their school and their community.
And you can help the Pacific students get to the event by making a donation on their Give a Little site below.
To other news now, beware of phone callers posing as Inland Revenue staff. That's the message from South Auckland Budget Advisor Vai Harris, who's had 3 clients lose thousands of dollars in a brazen scam. Vai says the callers promise money in return for a fee, and people are falling for it, giving away personal details.
Our people, they don't understand it's a scam, and they start giving out their confirmation, their details, their bank book, and also the address and a phone number. And these people won't leave them alone till they finally get what they want.
Meanwhile, Inland Revenue is warning the public to be aware of the callers, adding, the IRD will never ask you to make a payment to release a tax refund. If you get a call like that, just hang up.
In other news, congratulations to Chef Robert Oliver, who won a prestigious International Cookbook Award. Robert won the Gourmand Award for Best TV Chef Cookbook in the World 2013 for Mea Ai Samoa, Recipes from the Heart of Polynesia. Congratulations, Robert. Well, it is New Zealand Music Month, so it's a great time to support our local artists.
So here's a mix of local artists that got together for Jazz International Day, as Tangalo Tele o Sone Okesene reports.
It's the sound of modern Pasifika echoing through space and time at the Auckland War Memorial Museum. They're celebrating UNESCO International Jazz Day with live performances under the banner of LEVA 2014, The Space Between.
Well, LEVA is like a space between people, and in our perspective and the way we're using it, we're looking at it, terming it as a sacred space. And what we're trying to do is explore that space. And the space is like relationships between people.
Early in the morning, same routine, it's like I'm living the moment.
It's more than just jazz musos in celebration today. Lance Sewer has cobbled together an eclectic mix of Pacific musicians and poets for this project.
The collection of people are pretty amazing musicians. I've put together all the youngest, brightest, funkiest, soulful young Pacific musicians out there.
I'd like to open in Samoan because I feel it's appropriate. E mua mua lava, ona o mamoli la au I whangaa.
The musos got a hands-on tour of some of the museum's Pacific collection. That experience ending up with their performances.
A lot of the guys were really moved and inspired by what they saw and touched, and we started to think about music in a different way, and we were wanting to generate out of our experience of what we kind of got from interacting with things in the collection.
Some of that influence included improv pieces around the sounds and feelings of a working day in the plantation.
I kind of wanted to get that real to the core blues gut bucket feeling that we have about rhythm. And so we just decided to just play and experiment with certain kind of rhythms. And I know that a lot of them to do with like how we work on the plantation, how we kind of interact with one another when we're talking, how we kind of banter and just throw the kind of the jokes around.
One of Lance's collaborative ideas of fusing the talents of Pacific poets with jazz is one of the successes today.
Miles below the Pacific Ocean.
I think we achieved some pretty good results today because they were pretty hyped about it. They loved interacting with the jazz musicians, and I could see that a lot of the musicians were really listening to what they were saying to try and connect in and make music.
Well, that's our show for today. Do join us again next week when we'll have coverage of some of the awesome Samoan language events from around the country.
Until then, so far so fua.
Tō whākoutou.